I know that you are a really big LeBron fan.
Yes.
In regards to basketball, I know you like Luca and some others, but I can't comfortably say who your second favorite player is. And when it comes to soccer, I can name a few that you like. I don't know if I can name your exact two favorites.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want to make them, if you want to do of all of sports, or if you want to break down the sports, which two players?
Yeah, that's good. That's a really good question. Yeah, obviously LeBron has to be on that, and I'm just trying to think. Obviously, there's a level of skill that elevates players in whatever sport they're playing. That makes their name well known in whatever sport. I mean, I'm sure that the sport of pickleball, there are these very great players that if you're a pickleball enthusiast, you know who these people are. You might not know from any other community, since I don't know, since I'm not in the pickleball community. But there's always that person or those two or three people that when you talk about a sport, those are the people. F1, for example, we have Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. And you have some OG names of Schumacher. And for me, growing up having a Colombian heritage, there's Juan Pablo Montoya, who also raced F1. So there's names. I go on that whole tangent just to say there are names to every sport, which is very cool. But there are people who differentiate themselves from just being good, great, and then there's just like a whole nother realm. And I think LeBron does that very well. I don't think we've seen anyone do it to the level of success since Michael Jordan in terms of basketball. Maybe Kobe Bryant as well. With your Nike background, you probably saw him and how popular he was in China. I feel like Nike's is huge in China, and so they love love those athletes. I think Kobe transcended LeBron there, but if you just think of an athlete, if you think about the sport that's played most in the world by far, and it's a pretty big margin, it's soccer. Soccer is just accessible. You know, for basketball, you need a hoop. For baseball, you need a bat and a ball. For football, you can have a football ball. Who you're going to play it with? Soccer is one of those where every poor kid growing up, and this is stories that my dad's also shared, every poor kid, wherever you are in the world, you have access because you could just roll up a couple bags and put tape over it and use it as a soccer ball, and you can just dribble through it. It's a very accessible sport. It's a love sport, and so with that, it's who's that guy? Who's the pinnacle there? And it's Ronaldo. So it's actually very funny. I think Ronaldo and LeBron have very similar careers, which I've shared with you about. They're coming to an end. And both of them are 37, about to be 38. So right now, those guys are the guys. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still like, Ronaldo, LeBron James. So for now, those are the two that would be on my shirt. And who knows? Who knows who's the next generation? I think that's the fun thing with sports. That's the fun thing with movies, who have Star Wars being the biggest example of having multi-generations. So it's something I'm excited about. Luca Doncic is a guy who I think in skill has potential to be up there with LeBron. Could be up there with the shirt one day. But there's just this persona, there's this aura around these guys that LeBron and Cristiano Ronaldo have been able to attain. I don't know anyone else can do that. So, yeah, for you, sports or perhaps inspiration in the field that you're trying to enter, who would, beyond stars, who would be on that T-shirt?
Mm-hmm. For sports, from a pure sake of nostalgia, I always had a Donovan McNabb jersey growing up.
Yeah.
So like I always really enjoy him. Calvin Johnson from the Lions, number 81, went by Megatron. That's always just been a really cool athlete to me. Because not only Star Wars, but I also love Transformers. And that's when I was going through a big Detroit Lions phase, big time. I even went as the, can't believe this, dude. I went as Calvin Johnson Megatron for Halloween one year, whiteface version, of course.
Yeah, right.
Of course, yeah. That's
very funny that you picked the Lions. It's like the Browns are really the laughing stock of the NFL. But if there's any team that's lower, if there's any team that gets more made fun of, if there's any team that gets more pitied, it's the Detroit Lions, which I actually respect so much, because it's like, I was born in Cleveland, so by default I'm a Browns fan. You weren't born, you were born here. And so you picked the Lions. I respect that for little Vincent.
I don't know.
I'll give that's huge props, huge credit.
See, it's wild too, because like I liked the Eagles growing up because my favorite color was green. And I naturally just liked the Eagles green. I liked that hue better than the Jets green.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins, to me, thank you. When I was younger, the Dolphins didn't register as being the color green. I was a shade of blue for whatever reason. So it was always the Eagles, right? And that was also the first Super Bowl I watched, was when they went against the Patriots. Was that 07, 2007, 2004?
I don't know. Four? Actually, I don't know. I would assume 2004. I don't know.
Something like that.
I feel like you would pick the Dolphins now. I feel like you would like the Dolphins.
It's a cool color scheme. So, for me, colors have always been super important. Like, you would think I would choose a team with like a really great color scheme, but not blue and silver. I was like, whatever. But that was my team.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So yeah, as far as from a career perspective, we've been talking a lot about, I think kind of a reoccurring theme, what we've been talking about maybe the last 30 minutes. We talked about Baby Yoda. We're like, okay, well, that is a character who like everybody knows, but it's actually, there's a really good story behind it too.
Yes.
It's not just a meme. Like, that is a very sweet, endearing character, especially his relationship with Mando. Powerful character too. And then same thing with like Vader, right? Like, yeah, Vader is like the penultimate, like most iconic thing in Star Wars, but he's a great character in the same way that the Joker is to Batman. So similarly, same thing with LeBron, same thing with CR7. In this case, Tinker Hatfield, the most famous shoe designer, is the dude who did all the Jordans, has been working with Nike practically forever. Well, yes, he is like, okay, well, of course you'd say that he's the most famous shoe designer there is. To me, he's also the greatest one that there's ever been. From a career perspective, that would definitely be somebody that's on my shirt. And then for me, maybe from totally getting away from shoes, just somebody else who inspires me on a career level. And then I'll throw it to you and we'll probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Would be a guy named Todd Mcfarland, and that's going to be something I'll share on another podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. But he is a guy who started his own toy company called McFarlane Toys. He created some would call him a superhero. I would just call him a comic book character named Spawn. But Todd's also responsible for creating Venom and a lot of other famous comic book characters. And it's not even the characters he creates, but the stories. It's him as a person. He has a really cool story. One that I could see myself hopefully one day measuring up to. So yeah, Tinker Hatfield from the shoe design perspective, Todd McFarland from a overall career perspective.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
That's a good list right there, from the stories that you shared with me, from the creations that both of these people have made. And there's a documentary about McFarland, which we're going to watch. That's a really cool really cool pairing to have on your shirt.
Thanks, dude. Thank you.
For me, from a career perspective, I'm going into the accounting field. So, who's my favorite accountant? It's like
Phil Knight. Let's go.
Phil Knight. Woo, that's right. Or who is it? Ben Affleck, who's in the movie The Accountant?
Yeah. Come on,
bro.
son.
You know what I mean, man.
Yeah, bro.
That's my idol. So it's like, I'm not gonna give these accountants bad raps. I mean, they're very hardworking folk, very fun people to be around. Many people give accountants a bad rap. They're fun to be around. They're fun.
I went with a work friend of yours.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was exactly in the accounting field of things.
Yeah.
Dude was a baller.
Baller, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so accounting's in the business field, and so you look at who's at the pinnacle, who's at the top of the food chain in the business world. That's a world that I don't particularly idolize. I appreciate being a part of, but the cutthroat, nitty-gritty, screw everybody so I can get to where I want to go, that to me has never been something that I admire or appreciate. And I don't want to put every CEO in that basket that I just described. I don't want to put them there. I want to give them credit, but there's the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Jeff Bezos, the Bill Gates. As great as his foundation is, there's just a lot of things where it's tough for me to pick. I know Elon Musk has his downs. I know he's got his things. From a creativity, from a just drive to want to help the human race.
Yeah.
To just wanting to, I have this idea, let's make it happen. And how he acts as a businessman, that would probably be one. And then silly one, not silly, but someone who's not necessarily in the business world would be Kobe Bryant, of all people.
You got Elon and Kobe?
Elon and Kobe.
Dude, that's a sick shirt, man.
So from a basketball perspective, obviously LeBron. I'd take LeBron over Kobe. But from a business, from a Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant, especially towards his unfortunately latter years of his life, you could see a change, you could see a shift in him that would be really cool. So
yeah,
as of now, this is something I want to do more research on though, because I want to find people that I can connect with for accounting and for business. But Kobe and Elon Musk.
Something that's so cool. One of his last humongous achievements among many is like the dude even won. He did a short film.
Yeah,
I think it was called My Letter to Basketball or something. Mm-hmm. Best Oscar-winning short film.
Yeah,
like that's awesome. And it's crazy to think like where he was starting to dip his toes into.
Yes.
The spreading that sphere of influence outside basketball. And Elon in many ways has spread his influence across so many different things. He's not just a Tesla guy.
Right.
He's now the SpaceX guy too. And like it's just amazing.
Neuralink.
Yeah.
Starlink. Boring company. It just goes. He's not just the guy. He is the solar systems guy. Kind of thing.
Yeah, he's Neil deGrasse Tyson 2.0. He needs to create a company called the Unimind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Okay.
Embed it in his mind. Put in his Neuralink chip, and he'll do it.
Elon Musk. You pale son of a bitch.